The space around Earth's solar system suddenly filled with massive ships. 300 alien warships appeared from nowhere, each one bigger than Earth's largest cities. The ships were dark gray with sharp edges and glowing blue lights running along their sides. They moved in perfect formation, like a deadly parade in the emptiness of space. Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Sovereign's Wrath. He was tall and thin with purple skin and 4 arms. His golden uniform showed his high rank in the Zephyrian Royal Navy. Behind him, dozens of alien crew members worked at glowing control panels. The bridge hummed with quiet energy. "Report," Kethvar said in his deep voice. "We have arrived at the target system, Admiral," replied his second-in-command. "The primitive planet called Earth lies ahead. Our sensors show simple technology and weak defenses." Kethvar smiled, showing sharp white teeth. This would be easy. The Zephyrians had conquered 47 star systems in the past 100 years. Each victory had been swift and complete. The aliens they defeated always begged for mercy in the end. Earth would be no different. "Their ships are pathetic," laughed Commander Vextar, pointing at the main screen. "Look at those tiny metal boxes floating around their planet. They call those space stations." The screen showed Earth's satellites and space platforms. To the Zephyrians, they looked like children's toys. The International Space Station appeared fragile and outdated. A few small ships moved slowly between Earth and its moon. Nothing seemed threatening. On Earth, alarms began ringing in every military base and government building. Commander Jake Morrison sat at his desk aboard the International Space Defense Platform when his computer screen flashed red. He had been drinking coffee and reading reports about asteroid mining. Now his hand shook as he stared at the sensor readings. "This can't be right," Jake whispered. He pressed buttons to check the instruments again. The numbers stayed the same. 300 massive objects had just appeared near Jupiter's orbit. They were moving toward Earth. Jake grabbed his phone and called Earth Defense Command. "This is Morrison on Platform 7. We have a situation. Big situation." Within minutes, the call reached President Lisa Hamilton in Washington. She was in a meeting about trade agreements when her security chief burst through the door. The man's face was pale and his voice trembled. "Madam President, we need you in the Situation Room immediately. We have contact." Lisa's heart jumped. Contact meant only one thing: aliens. She had always known this day might come, but she never expected it to happen during her presidency. She followed the security chief down long hallways lined with worried faces. The Situation Room filled quickly with important people. Admiral Ryan Cooper arrived first, still wearing his exercise clothes. General Marcus Hill came next, his uniform neat despite being woken from sleep. Within an hour, leaders from around the world joined the video conference. "Show me what we're dealing with," Lisa said. The main screen displayed a computer image of the alien fleet. The ships were enormous, each one at least 10 times bigger than Earth's largest aircraft carrier. They moved in formation like a school of metal fish swimming through space. Red dots marked their weapon systems. There were thousands of them. "My God," whispered Prime Minister Claire Watson from London. Her voice came through the speakers clearly. "How many ships are there?" 300 confirmed, replied Admiral Cooper. "They appeared without warning. Our deep space sensors detected nothing until they were already here." "What do they want?" asked General Hill. They got their answer 20 minutes later. Every television, radio, computer, and phone on Earth suddenly displayed the same message. The image showed Admiral Kethvar standing proudly on his bridge. His purple face filled screens in every language. "People of Earth," the alien began. His voice was translated into hundreds of languages at once. "I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Royal Navy. Your planet now belongs to the Zephyrian Empire." The message continued as billions of humans watched in fear and amazement. "You have 1 hour to surrender completely. Lower your weapons. Shut down your military forces. Prepare for occupation. If you resist, we will destroy your cities one by one. If you surrender, some of you will be allowed to live as workers for the Empire." The screen showed images of other planets the Zephyrians had conquered. Cities lay in ruins. Alien soldiers marched through empty streets. Humans in chains worked in massive factories. The message was clear. "You cannot fight us," HFY said with a cold smile. "We have destroyed civilizations far more advanced than yours. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our ships. Your small military cannot match our power. 1 hour. Choose wisely." The transmission ended, leaving Earth in shocked silence. In the Situation Room, nobody spoke for several seconds. President Hamilton stared at the blank screen where the alien's face had been. Her mind raced through options, but none seemed good. Earth's military was strong, but how could they fight 300 ships that size? "Options?" she asked quietly. Admiral Cooper cleared his throat. "Our satellites show their ships have powerful shields and weapons. Nuclear missiles might not penetrate their defenses. Our fighter jets can't reach them in space. The space stations have some weapons, but nothing designed for this kind of battle." "What about other countries?" asked General Hill. "Can we coordinate a joint defense?" "Every nation is dealing with the same message," replied the president's advisor. "China, Russia, Europe, everyone. But what can we do? We've never faced anything like this." Outside, people around the world watched the sky with fear. Some prayed in churches and temples. Others gathered with family members. Many simply stood in streets and parks looking up at stars they could no longer trust. The Zephyrian fleet continued moving closer to Earth. Their ships cast long shadows across space, weapon systems charged with deadly energy. Admiral HFY counted down the minutes until the deadline. He expected the humans to surrender quickly, just like all the others. But Admiral HFY had never met humans before. He did not understand that sometimes the most dangerous animals are the ones that look weak and harmless. He had no idea that Earth held secrets hidden for decades. The next hour would teach him that appearances can be very, very deceiving. The countdown had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat in her laboratory deep underground in New Mexico. Above her, people panicked about the alien fleet. But Elena focused on her computer screens, studying the energy patterns coming from the Zephyrian ships. What she found made her gasp. "This is impossible," she whispered to herself. Elena had spent 15 years studying alien technology through secret government programs. She knew more about advanced physics than almost anyone on Earth. The readings on her screen told an incredible story. The alien ships used fusion reactors for power. Fusion was strong, but Elena's team had moved beyond fusion decades ago. Hidden in bases around the world, humanity had built reactors using exotic matter and quantum energy. The aliens flew ships powered by technology that Earth had quietly left behind years ago. Elena grabbed her secure phone and called General Patricia Brooks at Deep Space Command. "General, you need to see these readings right now." "Elena, we're a bit busy dealing with an invasion," Patricia replied. Her voice was calm despite the situation. "General, listen to me. These aliens are not as advanced as they think. Their ships run on fusion power. We stopped using fusion in our secret projects 20 years ago. They're flying around in ships that are actually primitive compared to what we really have." Patricia paused. Elena could hear typing and voices in the background. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying maybe it's time to show them what humanity has been hiding." 240,000 miles away, Captain Nick Carter received a coded message on the moon. His base looked like a simple mining operation to anyone watching from space. Large machines dug into the lunar surface. Workers in spacesuits moved equipment around. Solar panels provided power for what appeared to be a research station. But Nick knew the truth. Hidden beneath the fake mining equipment were weapons that could destroy entire fleets. The moon base was actually the most advanced military installation humans had ever built. It had been disguised as a civilian operation for 30 years. Nick entered his authorization codes into a secure computer. Around him, fake mining equipment began to move aside. The lunar surface opened up to reveal massive weapon barrels pointed at space. Energy cores that had been hidden underground started powering up. The research station transformed into a military fortress. Lunar defense grid online, Nick reported to Earth Command. All weapon systems ready. Similar transformations happened throughout the solar system. The cargo ship Freedom Star looked like a simple transport vessel carrying supplies to Mars. Commander Amy Wells had been pretending to fix a broken engine when the aliens arrived. Now she entered special codes into her ship's computer. The Freedom Star's outer hull plate slid away to reveal weapon systems that gleamed in the sunlight. The cargo containers opened to show missile launchers and energy cannons. The broken engine suddenly hummed with more power than most warships could generate. Amy's cargo ship was actually a stealth destroyer built with technology the aliens had never seen. Freedom Star ready for combat, Amy reported. All disguises dropped. Weapons hot. On Mars, Colonel Chris Morgan watched red dust blow across what looked like terraforming equipment. Giant machines appeared to be changing the atmosphere and preparing the planet for human colonization. But Chris knew better. The terraforming machines were actually railgun batteries capable of firing projectiles at incredible speeds across space. Mars Defense Network activated, Chris announced. Railguns charged and ready. Dr. Sam Parker worked in a facility hidden beneath the ice of Antarctica. His team had spent years developing Project Looking Glass, humanity's most secret weapon system. The project used technology based on manipulating reality itself. They could bend space, control time, and phase matter through dimensions. Looking Glass is operational, Sam reported to Earth Command. Reality manipulation systems are stable. Around Earth's orbit, hundreds of objects that appeared to be asteroids or space junk suddenly came to life. These were cloaked human warships that had been hiding in plain sight for years. Each one carried weapons that operated on principles the Zephyrians could not understand or defend against. Captain Tony Rodriguez commanded the hidden dreadnought New Horizon. His ship had been disguised as a large asteroid for 5 years. The crew lived in a fake rock, watching and waiting for this exact situation. Now the asteroid's surface cracked open to reveal a warship that could challenge an entire fleet. New Horizon uncloaking, Tony announced. All hands to battle stations. Lieutenant Commander Kate Johnson prepared her squadron of antimatter torpedo ships. The torpedoes were her own design, capable of phasing through any known shield technology before exploding with the power of small suns. Her ships had been hiding as communication satellites. Phantom Squadron ready? Kate reported. Antimatter, weapons armed. In the Situation Room, President Hamilton received reports from commanders she had never heard of before. Admiral Cooper looked surprised as names and units appeared on screens that were not in any official military database. Madam President, said General Brooks through a secure video link, for the past 40 years humanity has been preparing for this day. While we showed the galaxy primitive space stations and simple rockets, our best scientists were building weapons beyond alien imagination. You're telling me we've been hiding our real technology this whole time? Asked President Hamilton. Yes, ma'am, we've been watching the galaxy through quantum telescopes. We knew about the Zephyrian Empire. We knew they were coming eventually. Every apparently civilian project in space has been a cover for military preparation. Admiral Kethvar studied his screens as the deadline approached. The human planet showed no signs of surrender. A few small ships moved around Earth's orbit, but nothing that looked threatening. The aliens had weapons that could destroy planets. Surely these primitive humans would give up soon. Admiral, said his weapons officer, the deadline has passed. No surrender signal received. Kethvar smiled. Humans were stubborn, just like the other species they had conquered. A demonstration of power would change their minds quickly. Charge all weapons, he commanded. Target their largest cities. We'll start with a few warning shots. But as the Zephyrian fleet moved into attack position, sensors began detecting strange energy readings throughout the solar system. Objects that had appeared harmless were suddenly generating massive power signatures. Ships that looked like cargo vessels were revealing weapon systems that registered as extremely dangerous. Admiral, his sensor operator called out with worry in his voice, we're detecting multiple unknown contacts. They appear to be warships, but they weren't there a moment ago. Kethvar looked at his tactical display. Red dots were appearing everywhere. Hundreds of them. They surrounded his fleet in all directions. Energy readings showed weapons more powerful than anything in Zephyrian technology databases. Impossible, Kethvar whispered. Where did they come from? The answer was simple. They had always been there. Humanity had just been polite enough to stay hidden until someone decided to threaten their home. Now the gloves were coming off, and the Zephyrian Empire was about to learn that sometimes the prey is actually the predator. Admiral Kethvar stared at his tactical screens in confusion. Red warning lights flashed across his bridge as hundreds of human warships appeared from nowhere. His sensor operators worked frantically to understand what was happening. "Report!" Kethvar shouted. "Admiral, we count over 400 human vessels." His tactical officer replied with fear in his voice. "They were completely invisible until 30 seconds ago. Our sensors show massive energy signatures. These are not the primitive ships we expected." Kethvar's 4 hands gripped his command chair. In 100 years of conquest, the Zephyrian Empire had never faced an enemy that could hide entire fleets. Their intelligence about Earth was completely wrong. Impossible. Humans barely have space travel. How can they hide so many ships? The answer came at exactly 1432, Greenwich Mean Time. General Patricia Brooks gave a simple order from Deep Space Command buried beneath the Colorado Mountains. "All units, you are cleared to engage. Show them what humanity really looks like." "Captain." Tony Rodriguez fired the first shot from his dreadnought New Horizon. The ship had looked like a large asteroid for 5 years, but now it revealed weapons that operated on principles beyond Zephyrian understanding. A gravity beam lanced out from the New Horizon's main cannon. The beam hit 3 Zephyrian cruisers at once. Instead of exploding, the alien ships simply collapsed into themselves. Their hulls folded inward as gravity crushed them into tiny metal balls. The crews inside died instantly as space and time bent around them. "Direct hit," Tony reported calmly. 3 targets eliminated. Admiral Kethvar watched his ships disappear from the tactical display. "What kind of weapon was that?" "Return fire immediately." But the Zephyrian weapons could not lock onto targets they could not see. The human ships used adaptive camouflage that bent light and energy around them. Plasma cannons fired at empty space, while human vessels moved like ghosts through the battle. Lieutenant. Commander Kate Johnson launched her antimatter torpedoes from ships disguised as communication satellites. The torpedoes looked like small metal cylinders, but they contained technology that violated several laws of physics. Each torpedo could phase through solid matter before exploding. "Phantom Squadron, fire at will," Kate ordered. 12 torpedoes streaked toward the Zephyrian fleet. The alien point defense systems tried to shoot them down, but the torpedoes simply passed through the laser beams like they were made of light. They penetrated the alien shields without slowing down and buried themselves deep inside Zephyrian warships. The explosions came from within. Antimatter met normal matter and released energy equal to entire suns. 6 more Zephyrian ships vanished in brilliant flashes that lit up space like new stars. "Impossible!" screamed the Zephyrian weapons officer. "Their torpedoes passed right through our shields." Captain Nick Carter opened fire from the lunar surface. The fake mining equipment had moved aside to reveal railgun batteries that could accelerate projectiles to incredible speeds. But these were not normal railguns. They fired exotic matter shells that could pass through dimensions. "Lunar defense grid firing," Nick announced. Metal projectiles the size of telephone poles streaked across space faster than light itself. They hit Zephyrian ships and kept going, passing through hull, crew, and weapons as if the alien vessels were made of air. But as the shells passed through, they left trails of exotic radiation that made everything they touched simply stop existing. 8 more Zephyrian ships died as holes appeared through their centers. The holes were perfectly round and went completely through each vessel from front to back. Everything the exotic matter touched was erased from reality. Commander Amy Wells revealed the true nature of her cargo ship, Freedom Star. The vessel's hull reconfigured into a sleek destroyer equipped with weapons that manipulated fundamental forces. She targeted the largest Zephyrian battleship with a quantum disruptor beam. "Freedom Star engaging primary target," Amy reported. The quantum beam hit the alien battleship and began breaking down the bonds between atoms. The massive ship started dissolving from the point of impact. Metal turned to gas turned to energy, and energy dispersed into nothing. The battleship died slowly as it simply came apart at the molecular level. Colonel Chris Morgan activated the Mars Defense Network. The terraforming equipment revealed itself as a planetary defense system armed with weapons that could reach across the solar system. Massive railguns emerged from fake construction sites all across the red planet. Mars batteries firing, Chris announced. Streams of projectiles launched from Mars toward the alien fleet. But these projectiles were guided by artificial intelligence and could change course in flight. They weaved between friendly ships and struck Zephyrian vessels with pinpoint accuracy. Each impact released kinetic energy equal to nuclear weapons. Dr. Sam Parker activated Project Looking Glass from his Antarctic facility. Reality manipulation systems came online and began altering the laws of physics in the battle zone. Space itself became hostile to the Zephyrian ships. Looking Glass operational, Sam reported. Initiating reality distortion. Around the alien fleet, space began to change. Gravity fluctuated wildly, causing Zephyrian ships to be crushed or torn apart by invisible forces. Time moved differently in random areas, making some alien vessels age centuries in seconds while others froze in temporal loops. The very fabric of existence turned against the invaders. Commander Brad Walsh deployed nanite swarms from a ship disguised as a space construction platform. Billions of microscopic robots spread through space like metallic clouds. They attached themselves to Zephyrian hulls and began systematically dismantling the alien ships atom by atom. Nanite deployment successful, Brad reported. Enemy hull integrity failing across all targets. Major Julie Brooks coordinated precise strikes from her stealth fighter squadron. The small ships had been hidden inside fake asteroids around the outer solar system. They moved too fast for alien sensors to track and struck with surgical precision. Strike squadron engaging, Julie announced as her fighters destroyed Zephyrian command centers with focused particle beams. Admiral Kethvar's bridge shook as explosions erupted throughout his fleet. In less than 30 seconds, over half of his 300 ships had been destroyed or disabled. The humans fought with weapons that seemed like magic. His crews could not fight enemies they could not see or weapons they could not understand. All ships retreat, Kethvar ordered. Emergency hyperspace jump. But when his ships tried to escape, they found that human technology had disabled their jump drives. Dr. Parker's reality manipulation systems prevented the alien vessels from opening hyperspace portals. The Zephyrian fleet was trapped in a battle they could not win against an enemy they could not comprehend. Admiral, hyperspace drives are not responding, his navigator reported in panic. Kethvar realized with growing horror that his supposedly primitive enemy had been playing with him from the beginning. The humans had not just hidden their true strength. They had allowed the Zephyrian fleet to enter a trap prepared decades in advance. In 30 seconds, the most powerful fleet in the Zephyrian Empire had been reduced to burning wreckage floating in space. Only a few ships remained functional, including Kethvar's flagship. The humans had demonstrated their power, but they had not destroyed everything. They wanted survivors to carry a message back to the galaxy. The age of Zephyrian dominance was over. A new power had revealed itself among the stars, and it had been hiding in plain sight all along. The battle was over in 30 seconds. Where 300 Zephyrian warships had once filled space with their threatening presence, now only twisted metal and glowing debris remained. Most of the alien fleet had been completely destroyed. A few ships drifted powerless, their crews dead or unconscious. Only Admiral Kethvar's flagship, the Sovereign's Wrath, remained partially functional. Kethvar stood in his damaged command center, staring at screens that showed the destruction of his entire fleet. Smoke filled the air and sparks flew from broken control panels. Half of his crew lay unconscious on the floor. The other half worked frantically to keep life support running. Status report, Kethvar whispered, his voice barely audible. Weapons, offline. Shields destroyed. Engines failing. Hull breached in 47 locations, his surviving officer reported. Admiral, we've lost everything. The fleet is gone. For the first time in his military career, Admiral Kethvar felt real fear. The Zephyrian Empire had never suffered a defeat like this. His people had conquered 47 star systems without losing a single major battle. Now an entire royal fleet had been wiped out by a species they had dismissed as primitive animals. How? Kethvar asked. How did they do this to us? His question was answered when human ships surrounded the damaged flagship. Unlike the massive Zephyrian vessels, the human ships were smaller and moved with incredible grace. Their hulls gleamed with advanced materials that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Commander Pete Williams led the boarding party that attached to the Sovereign's Wrath. His team wore powered armor that made them look like metal giants. The suits enhanced their strength and protected them from any environment. As they cut through the alien hull with tools that melted through metal like butter, Kethvar's crew could only watch in amazement. The humans moved through the Zephyrian ship with casual confidence. They knew exactly where to go and what to do. Their armor analyzed the ship's layout in real time and identified important systems. Within minutes, they had secured the bridge and taken control of all vital functions. Kethvar found himself face-to-face with Captain Laura Smith, who served as humanity's diplomatic representative. She removed her helmet to reveal a calm human face with brown hair and green eyes. Despite having just witnessed the destruction of his fleet, Laura spoke to him with respect. "Admiral Kethvar, I presume," Laura said in perfect Zephyrian. "My name is Captain Laura Smith of the Earth Defense Corps. You are now our prisoner, but you will be treated according to galactic law. You speak our language," Kethvar said with surprise. "We speak all galactic languages, Admiral. We've been listening to your communications for over a century. We know more about your empire than you might think." Kethvar's mind raced with questions. Impossible. Our intelligence report said humans had barely discovered spaceflight. You use primitive rockets and simple technology. How do you have weapons that can destroy entire fleets? Laura smiled sadly. "Admiral, your intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to see. For decades, humanity has been very careful to appear weak and backward. We've hidden our real technology behind fake civilian projects. Every space station you saw was designed to look primitive. Every rocket launch was calculated to seem crude and inefficient." Dr. Henry Adams joined the conversation via communication link from his laboratory on Earth. His image appeared on the ship's main screen, showing an older human man with gray hair and kind eyes. "Admiral Kethvar, allow me to explain what you've encountered," Dr. Adams said. "While your empire has been perfecting fusion technology and energy shields, humanity has been working with exotic physics. We've learned to manipulate gravity, bend space and time, and create matter from pure energy." "That's impossible," Kethvar protested. "No species in the galaxy has achieved such technology. The physics alone would require understanding beyond any known civilization." "You're right," Dr. Adams replied. "Most civilizations follow the same technological paths. They develop fusion power, then antimatter, then try to improve energy weapons and defensive shields. But humans chose a different route. We studied the fundamental forces that hold reality together." Captain Smith continued the explanation. 100 years ago, our scientists realized that conventional technology had limits, so we started experimenting with things other species considered impossible or too dangerous. We learned to phase matter through dimensions. We discovered how to create exotic particles that don't follow normal physics. We built computers that calculate using quantum probability instead of simple mathematics. Kethvar looked around his destroyed bridge. "But why hide this? Why appear weak when you could have ruled the galaxy?" "Because we didn't want to rule anything," Laura answered. "Humans learned long ago that the best way to stay safe is to be underestimated. While your empire spent resources conquering other worlds, we spent our time developing technology and preparing defenses. We never wanted to fight anyone. We just wanted to be left alone." Dr. Adams's image leaned forward on the screen. "Your empire made a simple mistake, Admiral. You assumed that because our technology looked primitive, we were primitive. But humanity has a saying: the most dangerous animal is the one that looks harmless until you threaten its children." "Earth is our home," Captain Smith added. "We were willing to share space with your empire peacefully. We might have even traded technology eventually. But when you came here threatening to destroy our cities and enslave our people, you crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed." Kethvar finally understood the full scope of his failure. You were never going to surrender, were you? Never, Laura confirmed, but we hoped you would be reasonable. We monitored your approach for weeks. We tried to think of ways to avoid this conflict. In the end, you forced us to reveal ourselves. The Admiral looked at the humans with new respect. What happens now? Will you invade our empire? Will you enslave our people as we plan to enslave yours? Captain Smith shook her head. We're not conquerors, Admiral. We're defenders. You'll be returned to your empire along with the other survivors, but you'll carry a message. Any future aggression against Earth or our allies will result in the same fate as your fleet. Dr. Adams spoke again from Earth. We're hoping this demonstration will prevent future conflicts. The galaxy is big enough for everyone. Humans prefer peace, but we're very good at war when we need to be. Kethvar sat down heavily in his command chair. His empire's entire understanding of galactic power had just been shattered. The primitive humans had technology that made Zephyrian weapons look like stone tools. They had hidden their true nature so well that no one suspected the truth. How long have you been preparing for this? He asked. Since we first detected your empire 70 years ago, Laura replied. We've been watching and waiting. Every ship you saw around Earth was bait. Every apparently civilian installation was actually a military base. We've been building the most advanced defense network in known space while pretending to struggle with basic rocket technology. The full enormity of humanity's deception began to sink in. For decades, the Zephyrian Empire had been observing what they thought was a backward species. In reality, they had been watching one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy pretend to be primitive. Your people are very good at keeping secrets, Kethvar admitted. We had to be, Captain Smith replied. The universe is full of aggressive species like yours. The only way to survive was to make sure no one saw us as a threat until we were ready to defend ourselves. As rescue ships arrived to collect the surviving Zephyrians, Admiral Kethvar realized that everything was about to change. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity was not the weak species they appeared to be. A new power had revealed itself among the stars, and it had been hiding in plain sight all along. News of the 30-second destruction of the Zephyrian royal fleet spread across the galaxy faster than hyperspace travel. Within days, every species in known space had heard the impossible story. The mighty Zephyrian Empire, conquerors of 47 star systems, had been completely defeated by a species most aliens considered primitive. On the planet Korath, home to the blue-skinned Korathi people, President Veltar called an emergency session of their planetary council. The Korathi had lived in fear of Zephyrian invasion for 50 years. Their military forces were small, and their technology was focused on defense rather than conquest. Is this report accurate? Veltar asked his intelligence minister. Did the humans really destroy 300 Zephyrian warships in half a minute? Yes, sir, the minister replied, his blue face pale with amazement. We have confirmed the story through multiple sources. Admiral Kethvar himself was captured and released to carry the message. The entire royal fleet is gone. Similar conversations happened on hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. Species that had spent decades preparing for eventual Zephyrian conquest suddenly realized they were free. The empire that had seemed unstoppable had been stopped by a planet most aliens had never heard of. Ambassador Rachel Stone prepared for humanity's first official appearance before the Galactic Council. The Council met on the neutral world of Nexus Prime, a planet specifically designed for diplomatic meetings between different species. Rachel had spent years preparing for this moment, but she never expected it to happen after such a dramatic demonstration of human power. The council chamber was enormous, with seats designed for hundreds of different alien species. Some delegates were tall and thin, others short and wide. Some breathed oxygen like humans, while others required special environmental suits. All of them stared as Rachel entered the chamber. Members of the Galactic Council, Rachel began, her voice carrying clearly through translation devices. I am Ambassador Rachel Stone, representing the planet Earth and the human species. A murmur ran through the assembled aliens. Many had never seen a human before. They studied Rachel's appearance. noting her similarities to several other bipedal species while recognizing uniquely human features. "We come before you not as conquerors, but as a species seeking peaceful coexistence with our galactic neighbors," Rachel continued. "Recent events have revealed humanity's true technological capabilities, but our intentions remain peaceful." The Zephyrian representative, Admiral Kethavar himself, stood to address the council. He wore simple clothing instead of his military uniform, and his forearms hung at his sides in a gesture of submission. "Council members," Kethavar said, his voice heavy with defeat, "I must confirm that everything you have heard about the human defense of Earth is true. The Zephyrian royal fleet was completely destroyed by weapons beyond our understanding. The humans possess technology that makes our most advanced systems appear primitive." He paused, looking directly at Rachel. "But I must also confirm that the humans treated their prisoners with dignity and respect. They could have easily destroyed our entire empire, but they chose mercy instead. They seek peace, not conquest." The council chamber erupted in discussion as aliens tried to understand the implications. The Drekmari delegate, representing a species of large reptilian beings, stood to speak. If humans possess such advanced technology, why did they hide it? Why appear weak when they could have dominated the galaxy? Rachel answered calmly, "Because humans learned long ago that true strength comes from not needing to prove it. We developed our technology for defense, not conquest. We prefer to be underestimated rather than feared." General Kevin Brown oversaw the establishment of the solar defense perimeter from his command center on Luna Base. What had once been hidden installations throughout the solar system were now openly acknowledged as humanity's protective network. The fake mining operations, research stations, and cargo vessels had revealed their true nature as the most advanced defense system any species had ever built. "Status report," Kevin requested from Captain Mike Davis, who commanded the outer perimeter. "Defenses." "All systems operational, sir," Mike replied. "We have full coverage from the asteroid belt to the edge of the solar system. Any ship entering human space will be detected immediately." The defense network served a dual purpose. It protected Earth from future attacks while also sending a clear message to the galaxy. Humanity was no longer hiding. The days of pretending to be a primitive species were over. Captain Susan Clark observed Earth from orbit aboard the command ship New Terra. The planet looked peaceful from space, with white clouds swirling over blue oceans and green continents. It was hard to believe that this quiet world had just changed the balance of power throughout the galaxy. "It's beautiful," said Lieutenant Commander Kate Johnson, joining Susan at the observation deck. "Hard to believe we're now the most feared species in known space." "Feared and respected," Susan corrected. "There's a difference. Fear makes enemies. Respect makes allies." The Galactic Council session continued for 3 days, as species after species pledged friendship with humanity. The Korathi offered to share their agricultural technology. The Altarians proposed joint scientific research projects. Even former Zephyrian client species sent delegations seeking human protection. But the most significant moment came when Ambassador Rachel Stone announced humanity's new policy regarding galactic affairs. "Earth will not seek to build an empire or control other worlds," she declared. "But we will protect those who cannot protect themselves. Any species that chooses peace will find friendship with humanity. Any species that chooses aggression will face the same fate as the Zephyrian royal fleet." The remaining Zephyrian territories quickly declared independence as their empire crumbled. Without their military might, the Zephyrians could not hold their conquered worlds. Species that had been enslaved for decades suddenly found themselves free to choose their own destinies. Captain Tony Rodriguez, commander of the dreadnought New Horizon, received reports of liberation movements throughout former Zephyrian space. His ship and others like it had been revealed to the galaxy as symbols of humanity's hidden strength. "It's remarkable," Tony told his crew. "We spent years disguised as an asteroid, and now every species in the galaxy knows our name." Dr. Sam Parker continued his work with Project Looking Glass, but now he operated openly rather than in secret. Alien scientists requested permission to study human reality manipulation technology, though humanity was careful about what knowledge they shared. "We need to be responsible with this power." Sam explained to his research team. Just because we can alter reality doesn't mean we should. Some knowledge is too dangerous to spread freely. Admiral Kethavar returned to what remained of his empire to find a very different galaxy than the one he had left. The Zephyrian homeworld was in chaos as different factions fought for control. Many of his people blamed him for the disaster, while others praised him for helping prevent total annihilation. "You did the right thing," his former tactical officer told him. "If you had continued fighting, the humans might have destroyed our entire civilization." "Perhaps," Kethavar replied. "But I still cannot understand how we missed the signs. How did an entire species hide such advanced technology for so long?" The answer lay in humanity's greatest strength: patience. While other species rushed to display their power, humans had spent decades quietly preparing for threats they hoped would never come. They had built their defenses in secret and waited for others to reveal their intentions first. Captain Laura Smith wrote the final report on humanity's emergence as a galactic power. Her words would be studied by future generations trying to understand how Earth had changed the course of galactic history. "Humanity succeeded not because we were the strongest or the smartest," she wrote. "We succeeded because we were the most patient. We took the time to understand our enemies before they understood us. We prepared for war while hoping for peace. Most importantly, we remembered that the greatest victory is the one that prevents future conflicts." As the years passed, the galaxy settled into a new order. Humanity became known as both protectors and peacemakers. Their advanced technology remained partially hidden, shared only with trusted allies, and used primarily for defense. The age of conquest was over. In its place came an age of cooperation, guided by a species that had learned the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is appear weak until someone forces you to prove otherwise. Earth remained humanity's home, but their influence now extended throughout the stars. They had revealed themselves not as conquerors, but as guardians of a new galactic peace that would last for generations to come.